Great. My voice is audible?
Yes,
Sure.
it
Let's start
is.
the so that we are on time. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone from all parts of the world who have registered for this great webinar happening today. Hope you and your family are doing safe in the COVID times. Our best wishes are with all of you. Now, to begin with, let me introduce myself and the company to you. My name is Nitin Naveen, and I'll be your host for the day. I'm working as Vice President Innovation and Strategy at AI CodeSpot. Further, I've been joined by my couple of great colleagues, Arvind and Naveen, who will also assist me in keeping the event lively and resolving some technical glitches if it comes in between. So thanks a lot to them for putting in hard work and making this one a great success. We'll try to provide a seamless experience to all of you so that you can gain maximum output out of the same. Let me provide a brief background to all of you about AI CodeSpot. We started last year, backed up by our InfoVision, who is our knowledge and innovation partner, and Digit7, who is our technology partner. The focus is to provide all of you a deep dive in all the sectors wherever technology is there. And every month, the theme is different. Also, we are gaining momentum month on month. Our aim is to be number one AI driven community all over the world so that like minded people like you can be a part of the same in growing, supporting, and making it a success. The mission at our company is to serve as a hub for emerging information technology industry 4.01, which includes AI, ML, deep learning, digital twin, AR, VR, robotics, IoT, blockchain, 5G, drone, analytics, edge AI, edge computing, cloud, and so on. We'll enrich the content through blogs, digital content, videos, podcasts, and newsletters to shed light on the ever evolving industry. The focus is to do industry-backed webinars and hybrid events. The knowledge base will be made from reliable data through the subject matter experts, industry leaders, thought leaders, and our partners InfoVision and Digit7. Today, we are having a lovely and unique webinar around the great theme which covers how technology and automation is transforming the retail industry. So if you want to know the impact of external factors that make technology imperative in retail industry, the rise of m-commerce and ERP integration, exploring omni-channel retailing, role of technology in the face of retail future, and so on, then you are in the right place. We'll try to go all over it throughout our panel discussion and give lots of insights to you. There are lots more in store for the month as well as subsequent months with focus on banking, financial, insurance, telecom, retail, healthcare, supply chain, manufacturing, energy, utility, and so on. So request all of you to go through our website, which is aicorespot.io for future updates. Also, please like our social media handles, which will keep you all updated on everything what we propose to offer in the coming months to follow. Before starting with the day, I'd like to highlight a few things so that it can serve the tone for the amazing learning and networking day. Special mention about our knowledge and innovation partner, InfoVision, which is an end-to-end IT and business services provider specializing in providing technology transformation and innovation projects for over 25 years across multiple industries. They have 3,000 or more than 3,000 technology professionals working across 12 global locations, including US, Latin America, Middle East, and India. They serve over 65 customers across banking, financial industries, telecom, retail, media, consumer goods, healthcare, and manufacturing industries. The core services which they offer includes digital engineering services comprising of cloud, big data analytics, DevOps, application services, legacy modernization, digital quality assurance, mobile, API microservices, social media research analysis, and cybersecurity. They also have a unique state-of-the-art research and innovation lab named Digit7 in Richardson, Texas, with 5 great products, which includes dgrab, Napcart, TagSquare, DigitShelves, and FlyRobo. The beauty about all the 5 products is that they are customizable, cost-effective, and can be used in every industry where technology is needed. With their strong technology capabilities and delivery expertise, we are sure that they can help anyone in their transformational journey, provide technology needs to build future-proof business model and excellence into one's end customer experience. So to get in touch with them, kindly log on to their website, which is infovision.com, and leave your details through the contact us section. Now moving on and coming to our community partners for today, it includes Reed Jewelers and CarMax who came together to make this webinar a success. Special mention to attendees of the forum who registered and came today to achieve their objective. At the end of the day, if you gain few things out of this or get to network with each other, then our core objective as a platform will be achieved. Further, if anybody wants to ask questions, they can type it in the Q&A section, which is there at the right corner of the menu option. You can type in as and when the panel member speaks, and we'll try to get it answered as per the time permitted. There's also a hand button at the bottom of the screen through which you can even raise the hand and come to the stage to ask questions to speakers as well. Now, let me hand over the stage to Harvinder, who is AVP Client Partner at Infovision, handling retail domain, and who is the moderator for this panel discussion as well. He's joined by great colleagues, great speakers from the industry. So first is Arthur, who is the Chief Information Officer at Reed's Jewelers. The second one, Rob, former Director of Technology at CarMax. And third, great speaker, Ahmed, who is Executive Consultant in retail industry. So over to you, Harvinder, to begin this exciting panel discussion.
Thank you so much, Nitin. I appreciate you and AI CoreSpot team for inviting me for this webinar. Hi, everyone. Very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the participants based on your location across the globe. As Nitin mentioned, my name is Harvinder Singh. I am from Infovision. I'm responsible for managing retail customers in the company. I have been focusing on retail industry from last few years now, and it's great attention from my side to be successful in this, and that's the reason I have joined this session as a moderator. I extend my very warm welcome to Arthur, Rob, and Ahmed for being the panel member for this webinar. Before I request Arthur, you, Rob, and Ahmed in sequence to introduce yourself and talk about a bit about your journey, a very brief about the organization. Like Reed Jewelers is the largest family-owned retail jewelry chain in North America. Reed Jewelers sells diamonds, watches, and large selection of fine jewelry from top designers across 65 retail stores in 13 states, basically overall. CarMax is the nation's largest retailer of used car with more than 200 stores nationwide. If some of you who are following CarMax will be knowing how they revolutionized the auto industry by delivering the honest, transparent, and high-integrity car buying experiences that consumer wanted and were deserving, basically. And that's where I think the company has made a big shift. Again, Ahmed from HEB. HEB is number one food retailer in Austin, San Antonio, Houston, and Rio Grande. HEB is the largest private company in Texas and operates more than 400 stores. So the panel, which I'm very excited about it, is coming from such a deep understanding about the retail industry and experiences. And we are looking forward to gain from you, to learn from you overall. With this, I would request each one of you to introduce and talk about your journey briefly. Over to you, Arthur.
Hi, good morning, everyone. And Harvinder, thanks for the introduction. So we're Reed's Jewelers. We've been in business for 77 years, started in Wilmington, North Carolina. Over the years, we've grown our brick and mortar footprint to what today stands at approximately 94 stores, of which about 25 of those are Pandora franchise stores, and the others are Reed's multi-brand. Over the past 10 years, we've stepped into the digital realm, and we launched Reeds.com. And where we are today is we are embarking on a full transformation of our company. We are establishing a proper omnichannel framework where our digital customers, as well as our brick and mortar customers, can have an integrated, seamless experience, agnostic to the channel. We are changing out our entire core infrastructure to support this omnichannel framework, as we believe omnichannel is an inside-out concept. We're also sending a bold message that we are a jewelry company that's tech-driven, and we've launched our innovation lab, where we essentially try out new and novel technologies, AI, spatial reality, rendering, and AR, and so forth. So it's a very exciting time, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much, Arthur. It's great. Rob, over to you.
Yes, Rob Phillips. I've been with had been with CarMax for a dozen years. Started in the story behind CarMax is very similar to what Arthur was talking through. The company has been around since '93, changed the way the car buying experience is for users, and has just continued to grow and grow and grow in the brick and mortar world since 1993. So when I joined in 2010, we were getting into the thinking about, okay, what's going to happen in the future and what are customers going to need. So CarMax is going through that same kind of journey of replacing all of the existing systems with newer technology and joining it into the experience that's online to really give the customer the ability for them to do anything they want, anytime they want, on any device that they want, in any location that they want. So that's really what makes up the full world of omnichannel. And there's, again, a lot of data and a lot of AI and, that needs to go in there to make sure that it is as simple and seamless for all the users.
Thank you so much, Rob. Very exciting. Ahmed, over to you.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Ahmad Al-Assad. I'll try to be as brief as possible. Over the last 10 years or so, my journey has been either started off with, I could go back to 1993, which is ironically when I started my technology career. Rob, you kind of triggered something there. But over the last 10 years, I was at an agency that was helping retailers move more towards digital. So this is CG and retailers in general. And over the years, I've migrated over to loyalty, where we help brands with loyalty. And what does loyalty mean? And last but not least, as Harvinder had mentioned, I was at HEB, which is a grocery retailer, the largest in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely the largest privately held company in Texas. And the goal, similar to what Rob and Arthur both mentioned, is to move more towards that omni-channel presence. So it's bridging between the in-store and the online space, and what is that glue between the two?
Sure. Thanks, Abbott. I think, again, very excited. And thank you so much, each one of you. You are doing I think you're part of the great journey. And I think this panel will learn a lot from your experiences. And before I kick off our discussion about how technology is shifting retail experiences, again, I would like to just mention a few personal experiences. And these are like in the last few months. The way I interact or work has changed. I travel a lot. I travel very frequently for my work. And I used to use either websites or few apps from last few years. But what I've seen, I think the way things are changing and the kind of latest and greatest technology is helping in changing the behavior. One is like, take an example. In my case, I do air travel on a need basis. I look at the driving, again, hotel reservations. And this is happening at a very fast pace. If I just look at my itinerary in the last 3 months, maybe like I have made like around not less than 12 trips or 13 trips. And some of these things, as you know from my experience, one time fixed. These things keep changing. You get rescheduling things happening. Your preferences are changing based on how much time you're spending during the travel. What I'm amazed and what I've seen, some of the providers have brought in the real-time information where things are so accurate, so transparent, and I mean on your fingertips. It just takes I think a minute or two to make my entire travel booked, and if I need to really change it, just a few seconds. So that's kind of a pleasant experiences which I'm having it from last few months specifically. Another example is again when I try to optimize my door-to-door time, like when I leave my home and when I leave at the client place, how much time it takes. And my intention is always to look for an option which reduces that and definitely keep it's convenient to me. I think rental car, going and bringing a rental car a day before I travel and then dropping it out was one of the big hassle. Time consuming, not a pleasant experiences. Now we have a lot of other services available where my preferred car can be dropped at my home whenever I want, and it can be picked it up basically. So those options have really become available and make life so simpler. And in a similar recent example, one of my friend's daughter was out sick. She was in pain in her dorm in the college. and she was unable to reach her parents when it was needed. And she just called us up because my wife comes from a pharmacy background to see how we can help. You won't believe, using a service like Instacart, it is just a few minutes thing online, going and getting a medicine delivered from the nearby pharmacy to her dorm, which was unimaginable at times. We were thinking first, hey, should we drive? It's a 4-hour drive to reach her, but we know in such kind of a situation, you need to have immediate help. So the point which I'm trying to probably come across or convey, I think, as a consumer and on the need basis, things are constantly changing. The way I used to think 2 years before, the way I think now as a consumer, it's really far different, because my expectations are changed. My I think experiences are constantly evolving. And again, if you look at retail industry in the context, the retail industry has traditionally been among the first industry to feel the severe heat. And if we talk about the tough economic outlook over this year or the next years, I think rising inflation is pushing up the prices of both everyday necessities such as groceries or clothing, or if you talk about any luxury items sold by multinational companies. Again, what we are seeing is, as and things moving forward, supply chain disruptions are negatively impacting operations. The stocks or inventories running low. We are seeing prices are going up and up on a need basis, and retailers are figuring it out what to do next so that they can be profitable overall. Many of the brick and mortar retailer started focusing on online when they saw the trend from Amazon and some of the other bigger retailers in past. But 2022 has been remarkably different. The kind of I think inflow we have seen in the brick or mortar again stores is unimaginable. I think one of the studies says, when we even think about Gen Z or Gen Alpha, they are not coming to convenience store. I think it says like every week, twice a week, people are coming and visiting the store, and that's what some of the data has been collected. So I think the way we were looking at online a few years before and now what we have seen, especially post-pandemic or a little bit later in pandemic, I think it's definitely giving us a lot of different signals to see how do you marry these combinations together. So keeping this in context, I would love to hear from you, Arthur, first. What are the key business trends you are observing? You did talk about briefly about omni-channel and bringing online and offline together, but what are the key broad trends you are observing it, and especially you can predict what will be a 2023, 2024 focus, and bring the read experiences also in that. That will be great to know.
Yeah, there's a lot. What we decided to do was to exploit the fact that we have an established network of brick and mortar stores, and it seemed logical for us to not just treat them as retail outlets, but also as distribution centers. And what that allows us to do then is to bring novel services to our customers, the ability to buy online, and if the online inventory is unavailable, to source that product from a store, because we have visibility into the inventory across the stores. And in doing that, do the shipping from the store itself. And so by doing that, we're leveraging our footprint as opposed to building large, humongous distribution centers around the country. We already have points of presence. And so we're leveraging the back room, as it were, of our stores as warehouses and distribution centers. So we did that effectively over the past 4 or 5 years. We've been able to allow people to buy online, pick up in store. Certainly, with the changes we've all experienced because of the pandemic, the ability to buy online and have curbside pickup, the ability to go into a store, and that store might not have that item that you're looking for. So you're browsing a tablet, and then the store can place that order for you and have it delivered to your home. So we've definitely leveraged our distribution network. The other thing that we've done is to look for novel ways to create an immersive experience for our customers. During COVID, most persons, at least for the first year, 2020, weren't so sure if it was okay to go into a store. And so we saw a lift in our online business And we decided then that what we should do is bring the store to them. And so we activated 2 or 3 Black Fridays ago the ability for you to not only configure your ring, if an engagement ring, for example, or a graduation ring, but the ability to try it on and actually have the experience of seeing that ring on your finger to make sure that not only does the ring look good on its own, but it actually looks good on your hand. And then we extended that to watches as well. So we saw the opportunity to use technology to create that in-store experience so that you can do things like try on. The other thing that we thought was important is buying jewelry can be a difficult task, especially when you don't know much about diamonds and rings on a product and you don't know how to search for it. And so what we decided to do was to provide visual search, where you're able to take a picture of your friend's ring or some magazine that you might be browsing, for example, and you see this really cool product. You can take that picture and then use that as the search token in our digital store. Because without that picture, there's no way on earth that you as a shopper would be able to describe that product in terms of searching for it. And so, we've done all of those because we recognize the need for us to appeal to what I call the affinity of our customers. Different customers carry different shopping affinities. Some want to go online, some want to go in the store, some just want to, look at a billboard and then send in, use a catalog to place an order. But the idea is to truly is to allow customers to shop the way they want to. Sort of like what Rob said about CarMax, the way you want it, when you want it, where you want it, how you want it. I think that's what you said, Rob. So it's to deliver that in our jewelry space, and we've done that over the past, I'm going to say 5 years or more.
Very good. Thank you so much, Arthur. I think you touched upon on quite a few trends which, as an industry, we are observing. But great to know what you're doing it for Reeds. Again, Rob, over to you. Would like to hear from you. How are you seeing these trends? Do you agree to that part? Do you see something missing which you are observing?
I say there's a lot of parallels between what Reed's Jewelers is doing and what CarMax has been doing too, as far as providing customers the ability to get in between brick and mortar and online. I think things have, the world's moving faster and faster, and change is happening faster and faster. I can go back and look at, I was probably 6 or 7 years ago, Carvana came along and started selling cars online. We saw it, and people are going to want it, but the adoption curve is so much steeper, or actually it executed so much deeper than we actually thought it was going to happen. And we went, wow, this is a place where we're going to sell cars online now. People are comfortable. But similar to the jewelry world, it's those cars, rings, diamonds, really expensive things that people are buying, and how you give them the comfort and the confidence in their purchase to be able to make that type of transaction online. And part of what the beauty of what CarMax brings to is back to that brick and mortar, that you can have that brick and mortar thing where people can come in and actually see it for the customers who really want to touch it and feel it before they commit to it, and help use that to bridge that gap between the online space and the traditional world. So really what's happening is it's about getting convenience for users, making things as simple, as seamless. People want to do what they want when they want to do it. If I want to be at my kids' soccer games and be searching on my phone, updating my preferences, re-looking on this inventory of the 60,000 cars that CarMax sells because I want something with Bluetooth and these other little niche things that may be installed in the vehicles, I can start to doing those searching and enriching what I'm actually looking for on this really unique set of inventory that we have. And then when it's time to make that transaction, most people who've gone into a dealership and purchased a car, you got to go through the haggling and negotiation. Well, CarMax took care of that back in 1993. So that's gone. But there's still financing, there's still paperwork, there's still trade-ins and everything else that needs to happen. And that's time consuming. And everything that the business can do to speed up that transaction, whether there's activities that the customers can do on their own so that they're ready to go when they show up for this express delivery or home delivery, But anything that you can do to help build those processes to allow the customers to do them when they want and how they want is something that I think is key. And then I also want to close it, my comment too out with that pace of adoption. What you see today, it's going to come faster, or what you think is going to happen in the future is going to come way faster than you think it's going to come. And so the ability to be able to be nimble as an organization, to carve up your business processes into individual services so you can add and subtract and morph them around the way you need to, because you're going to need to react to really changing business conditions really quickly.
Very well said, Rob. Totally concur with you. I think consumers are looking for ways to search, explore, compare, and engage, buy things from various ways, the way you have described. And again, technology is maturing. The way we were like 3 years before versus now, so many other options are available. I still feel personally there are quite a few things still in the experimental way, or we are still figuring it out. But I think it's far mature than what it was, and the speed in which things will move forward will be much higher pace than what we have seen in the last 3 years. So totally with you. Ahmed, what about you? What are you seeing it based on the industry experience in the food industry? If you can talk about some trends.
So given my role as an executive consultant, I won't speak to any one of my clients directly. I'm going to speak about it a little bit more in generalities, especially since the topic is about trends. Overall, the trend is to be disruptive. Disruptive as in how we approach both online and the physical store is requires a lot of innovation. You almost have to always be ahead of the curve somehow, right? And to that end, there's an Ernst & Young article from earlier this year that I would like to kind of paraphrase and quote some of it. Retailers are not new to disruption. They faced the entry of technology-powered online competitors, startups, and marketplaces for years. But many have not been at the leading edge and have responded to rather than anticipated these threats. So as retailers look to reset and move forward, they must build on efficiency, right, and operational excellence, and to deliver growth by truly reflecting what customers or consumers want. Now, obviously, technology can help retailers do this, but consumers have already shifted their expectations further ahead, creating a gap that retailers must close. Now, this imperative comes against a backdrop where technology is blurring industry boundaries and opening new possibilities in every aspect of retail, across marketing, procurement, sales, planning, logistics, and cross-functional support such as finance, HR, and real estate. At the same time, COVID has accelerated a lifestyle shift, similar to what Arthur and Rob have both touched on, to online platforms unlike any other. So there is now a greater acceptance of digital alternatives, whether it be to shop, work, get fit, or as a source of entertainment. So we shop, pay, and deliver on our terms. Omnichannel retailing will become basically second nature if it hasn't already become that. Shopping in the store and having the item delivered to your home or as a gift is a minimum expectation these days. The ability to shop at home and pick up in a store will be more common than ever. Shop when you can, wherever you can, and then take delivery the same way. So, and Amazon has really changed a lot of this for us. I mean, they're one of the biggest retailers here in the United States. So one-click purchasing, anticipatory shipping, intuitive, personalized shopping recommendations, speakers that allow you to place orders with your voice, and more have all proven to be effective shopping tools. Again, in part, if not in whole, due to what Amazon has done. I think that I'll wrap up my answer with saying that there are both in-store tech and online that is where I'm seeing the trends, and how bridging that gap is always the name of the game, and that's where I see the biggest disruption. So some are relying on things as the good old QR codes. Some are doing automated checkout, I think like Amazon Go. Some are going to point of sale solutions to go mobile. Some are taking it further with robotics. With online, we will touch on that maybe later. There's all kinds of other solutions that I'm seeing trends in and then starting with personalization and how we approach that. And I'll stop it there.
Yep, no, sure, Ahmed. Totally, again, agree with you the way you have briefed about Kurt. I think there's a really common theme, and if I have to summarize a few of the trends which you guys have mentioned, it's mainly a hybrid, the omni-channel experience, get the best of both worlds. We know there are so many benefits which most of you have already talked about the online channel, but at the same time, offline channel, when you're in the store, you can touch, feel, smell, even taste also based on what you're trying it out, and that has a very different dimension of customer experiences overall. So yes, look at the hybrid as the key theme and try to give the best experience. And these days, consumers' expectations are to interact with the brand irrespective of the channel they are coming from. The way a person comes to your website, same way when he or she comes in front of your store, they want to get the same kind of a experience or a treatment over there, basically. The same way, I think I agree, personalization is a key, automation is a key to I think some of you have already mentioned about it. How do we make again operationals excellent so that time can be saved, knowing the current challenges which are happening. The shop cashless, contactless delivery method like BOPIS, BORIS, BOPAC. Again, all those things are becoming earlier need for a pandemic, but now they're the standard. Retailers are figuring it out by default how to provide some of these options as that's the forefront, because that's what consumers are expecting. So great points calling it out. But yes, as we move forward, before I get to the next topic, but again, there's a question here right now where I think Zach has asked, I'm interested in knowing how the panelists are viewing and are utilizing metaverse across branding experiences and ultimately commerce. How can metaverse change existing brick and mortar operations? If one of you want to mention, and Arthur, I'll start with you if you're okay with that.
Sure. Actually, I do see it on our roadmap. I'm not sure that our customer base is actually going to be the first to take it up in terms of that adoption curve that Rob talked about. That said, our technology, our strategies here, and I'm actually sitting in my innovation lab. We're testing those concepts right now, so that when the business comes around and when the customers come around, we can say, "Hey, we're ready. Here's our Reed's store of the future in the metaverse." So it's actually a topic that is that we're discussing. I have a team that's called the Store of the Future team. You can imagine what we do. And we see the metaverse as one of a number of archetypes, variations of what a store of the future is going to look like. But as of today, right now, I think it's still relatively immature, and that our customers aren't necessarily going there right now.
Got it. Again, Rob or Ahmed, if you have any point to add on, feel free.
Yeah, I agree. It is a bit early in there. It's proof of concept stage, but the things that you can do in there that would be potential is being able to get a better look and feel of the product and understand how it interacts with your life and what you want. For example, with get back to vehicles, like, will my golf clubs fit in the back of the trunk of this car, or what happens when I put a kid's seat behind me? How much does the seat have to get adjusted, and what does that look and feel change for the car for me? Metaverse will bring some of those capabilities, but we're a little ways from that.
Sure. I think similarly,
Yeah.
what I you agree, Ahmed?
That's it. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, but I think if you look at some of the key players, and I'll name a few of them like Adidas, Nike, Samsung, Burberry, and few more. I think they are actually, again, some of these. And again, I was part of a panel discussion maybe a week and a half before. I was attending a conference, and the key retailer wanted to just tap into every kind of a consumer. So for them, metaverse was not a channel to get a greater revenue or significant revenue, but hey, how do I tap into any customer who wants to interact? And one of the ways they were thinking about the gaming industry, where our Gen Z or Gen Alpha are very deeply involved and spending too much time. Now, how do you get their attention from the virtual world to the physical world, where they accumulate points or they collect tokens, but have some ways to bring them to order something which these companies have a product or virtual stores available, and it gets delivered to your doorstep. So again, when I asked about a question, hey, how much percentage of revenue? I think the answer was we don't know, and we are not looking for that as the revenue generation channel, but making sure we are not leaving that audience, which is very critical for that group over there, as unattended, and that's the reason they were exploring on that part. So I agree with you guys. In many of these things, it's experimental at a very early stage, but it looks promising. Some of the behavior or interactions have shown the value it can bring it when you get a more virtual. So again, I was part of a one experiment where we had a person in New York City, one in Dallas, and one in India, and we were shaking hands, and we were getting a vibration when we shake hands, basically. So that's a next level of again experience which you feel. Yeah, I know it's a may not add that value from the business perspective, but I think it gives you a possibilities which it can bring in the near future. So to answer, I think Zach's question, I think it's in a very early stage. We do agree with that part, but a lot of other companies are experimenting and trying to figure it out how to tap into that newer generation so that they don't leave them alone or leave them aside, basically.
And as a CIO, I have to be careful how I spend scarce capital, right? Because you can't forever stay in this lab and vibrating, handshaking, and things like those, right? The reality is, at Reeds, we were one of the first retailers to accept Bitcoin as a tender type. And that was over 9-10 years ago. But if you comb the market, how many jewelers are accepting Bitcoin right now, right? So I see that as a place that we're going to go because we don't have a choice. But to manage scarce resource and capital, I will simply focus on the core technology, which is how do I get holograms into my framework? How do I get SRD, spatial reality displays going? How do I create an immersive experience? Because metaverse is immersive. I mean, that's the baseline, right? And there are lots of ways to ease into that. I'm sure I'm going to have a store in there, and I'm sure I'm going to have kids running around and looking at rings and playing with Rolex, even though they can't afford it. But that's fun stuff. But where we are today is my focus right now is how do I take SRD, AI, augmented reality, and incorporate it right now so that I can drive customer acquisition and manage customer retention in our stores.
Sure.
So hopefully that helps the question that was raised.
Yeah, I hope. I think Zach got his answer. So thanks for that. Moving forward, again, one of the key aspects which every one of you have touched upon about the omni-channel strategy. How critical is having an omni-channel strategy, Reeds in general? I know you have touched upon a little bit on that part, but can you talk about more on the top line growth? You talk about customer acquisition, customer, again, engagement, based on your experience that really great to know.
I mean, gosh, there's so many benefits to doing that. First of all, you're harmonizing your infrastructure, right? See, this is the interesting thing. Whenever I speak on omni-channel, I take it from the inside going out, right? Because it's easy to look at the omni-channel from the outside, which is, oh, look, I can buy it online and pick it up in the store. Yeah, but if the infrastructure is not integrated, where I'm not going to send an email to the same customer twice because I didn't realize it's the same customer, then you're not truly omni-channel. You're just multi-channel. And so the benefit for me was, I'm reducing my total cost of IT ownership. Because whereas we had stovepipe technologies supporting one channel and another group of tech supporting another channel, we had multiple databases of customer information. You can imagine what that's like. It was hampering our ability to do personalized and target marketing. So you see why my view on omnichannel is get the infrastructure. And by infrastructure, I mean your databases, your data models, your data architecture, your applications, your ERP, your warehouse. How do you omnichannel inventory? Because if you don't do that, you can't do a buy online, pick up in store, because how are you going to know which store has the inventory? So the benefits for us was a proper consolidation and what I call the oneification of my ecosystem, which has allowed us to now create this presentation, this experience of omnichannel. So the benefits have been just tremendous from a total cost of ownership, efficiency, operational efficiency, just a massive improvement in how we market and who we market to and where we market and what techniques we use. Those have been all the benefits that we've experienced by viewing omnichannel as an infrastructure that manifests itself in a customer having this harmonized experience as they go from channel A to channel B.
Sure, Arthur. Yeah, totally understand your point. And Rob, would love to hear from you, because I think your industry is very different than what Arthur is coming from, but there are parallelism. How do you see this part?
There absolutely is parallelism, but as you're replacing all of those components that are out there to build an omnichannel, yes, there's databases of customers that sit everywhere, and you can't wait till they're all replaced and brought in together with a single point of view about customer. Well, what CarMax did was we brought in a MDM that brought in the golden view, or the 360-degree view of the customer, so you understand everything that they're doing across all channels without actually having to mess with any of those other systems, because you're listening to what's happening and bringing all that information together. And then you're not forcing people again to say, here's what the view of the customer is. You're saying, here is the view of the customer, and here's what it is if you care to come utilize it. And you can do it with customer. You can do it with your inventory. You can do it with your locations. You can do that, and you should do that with every high-level domain of information that you have to build you that foundation to allow you to continue to evolve into the future.
That's very well said, Arthur. But that's again one of the other key consideration when we are collecting data from anywhere and everywhere. I think a lot of customers are very careful how that data is getting utilized when it comes to the privacy, transparency,
right.
And some of the again norms. European countries are having it, and again a lot of customers are not only just become loyal when they see some of these aspects. Rather, they want to understand how ESG centric you are. Are you really thinking about a planet? Are you thinking about the environment? And some of those things we are seeing as a trend now, where the loyalty plays a very, very, or these factors play a very great role when you really want to become a loyal. How do you see these things are getting done? And especially in the case of a CarMax, what did you do differently so that these concerns were not raised by the customers?
It's about just paying attention to the trends of what people are doing. CarMax's business is a little different. We're not the Amazon. We're not the grocery store that are selling you this thing where you need something every single week from you. You're buying a car that, to be honest, you may be buying a car every 3 to 5 years. Would love people to come back to them. So one, building that great experience for them is what will bring them back over and over again. But again, back to paying attention to trends that are happening, whether that is, making sure that I've got green stores or zero emissions, whether I'm making sure that I'm actually participating in diversity and inclusions, but taking those things that are really key and important to people. That's how CarMax takes their stand on how do I build brand loyalty. But it's making people sure they understand that, I'm a used car dealer, but I'm also doing what's right for the larger good of the population.
Important. We recognize there's a growing trend as the generations that they're coming behind all of us on this call, right? They're very conscious about Mother Earth, and sustainability is a big thing. And so in the diamond industry, there's a massive trend towards lab-grown diamonds, and for all of the reasons. And so we've had to pivot and adjust in terms of our assortment, so that we are carrying a fair amount of labs as well as mined diamonds, and we're seeing a trend. There's a group of customers who give me lab or give me death, and that's what they want. And as Rob said, you got to be listening, and we've heard them loud and clear, and so we promote both. Again, as I said, it's the affinity that drives it, right? Some customers still want their mined diamonds, and some only want labs, and then some are in between, but you make them both available.
Yeah. And Arthur, the important thing, what we are seeing some trends with some of the retailers where these things are demanded by the customers before they make a purchase. So it's not only doing it that way, but how do you make that information readily available while the process of a buying, where you tell them what sources you have used to make that particular item, and then you get the attention from the customers, basically. So that's again a growing trend which you are seeing it right now.
Absolutely. I mean, and what we do is we provide as much background information as we can on that product, where it's coming from, where it's sourced. We try to educate the customer, because buying diamonds is not as a simple thing. And it's something you go into. You want to be careful. You want to make sure you're getting the right cut, the color, the clarity of the cut, the brilliance, everything that you're looking for. But you also want to be conscious as to where's it coming from, and how was it sourced. So we provide that information to our customers, whether you're in the store, or meaning the brick and mortar store, or whether you're online. We make that available.
Sure, Arthur. Ahmed, over to you.
Actually, going to add that earlier when you were talking about data, I couldn't agree with you more, Arthur. But the infrastructure is key. But where you caught my attention is when you mentioned notification. We're not just talking about the customer data, whether it's an FDM or CDP or CRM. The key thing here is the holistic view, but you touched on a very key thing there, which is inventory, right? Product attribution, for example, you really can't get anywhere without knowing that this product is part of this assortment, is part of this inventory at this location. That's all metadata, perhaps at the surface, but it's all data. And how you unify that data and make it accessible, whether it's via email, online, or in store, right? That is where you start to work toward omnichannel. So I think product attribution and inventory is key. And whether you're talking about, in the case of diamonds, whether you're talking about the 4 C's or you're talking about the source, is equally important and part of that product attribution journey. And that makes up a big part of that omnichannel approach.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. But as a whole, what do you guys think, like in terms of a maturity? Do you think a lot of retailers are already mature in that? Again, based on my narrowed focus on certain customers, they're in a very early stage still. They might have collected the data, sort of a claiming we have a single source of a truth. But when it comes to even thinking about insights, thinking about feedback loop and all that, I believe we are still in a very, very early stage of this whole rhythm. What do you think about that?
Well, I can speak for my sector. I will not speak for retail, because retail, we'd be here till next year. I can tell you that the jewelry industry is not known to be bleeding edge with anything. And, when I go out and I speak and I tell them I have an innovation lab, people sort of look at me like, what? Aren't you guys selling diamonds and watches? And so that's the point, right? How are they using data for marketing in the jewelry industry? Again, it's not as sophisticated as you would expect it to be. So the adoption is happening now because we don't have a choice, right? Because of something I believe you said, Harvinder, there's an expectation, right? And there's a formula that I share with my graduate students, which is the perceived value equation, right? Which is your customer's perceived value is the quotient of their experience versus divided by their expectation. So if the expectation is that I can go to a punch machine and punch me a 5 Series Beamer, then that better work when I show up, so that my experience should surpass that expectation. As a result, all these retailers in the jewelry industry are now up-teching, right? We do drop shipping, right? We have vendors who carry products that we don't carry. When you make a purchase on my Magento e-commerce platform and I have this order, I need to put it in your order management system so you could fulfill the order. Well, guess what? If you don't have a system that's exposing APIs for me to consume and put a JSON payload, then I'm going to have to use a fax machine, or I'm going to call Ahmed and have him put a note and mail it to you. I don't know, carrier pigeons. Look, so there's a need for the jewelry industry to up-tech, and it's actually happening. But we're not there yet as an industry. It's a handful of us that are actually pushing it, and I'm happy to say that we're in that handful at this point.
That's good.
Yeah, whether same kind of thing too. There's a lot of systems, a lot of integrations where companies are doing these things. They'll talk about whether I'm doing AI or whatever I'm doing, but they're not doing it in real time at the speed in which customers want to interact with. Or they're like, I've transacted, and there's a batch feed that goes over your marketing CRM, and hey, the customer got an email at 5:00 that says, hey, we've got some new jewelry for you or a new car for you. And the customer's going, I bought a car 4 hours from you, 4 hours ago. Leave me alone. That was a waste of my time.
Exactly.
It kept the traction that. So as Archer mentioned, having the ability to have APIs, but take the next step beyond just APIs, but truly having an event-driven world where every event from every system is broadcast on your own network where you can listen to it, which again gives you that foundation of data, of things that are happening in your business that you can then you can react to, and you can build experiences that are really can be done on the fly.
Sure. And Rob, good news is what I am seeing it with some of the customers. Again, the focus is narrowed for me, and you guys might be having a broader view in general in the industry. I think people are making investments to go towards that part. I think this is becoming one of the theme for when they are talking about the strategy for FY23-24, because in some bits and pieces, people have already seen the benefit and the value of some of these things. I think a lot more needs to be explored, figure it out what works for in your context, and try to leverage. So good news is people are going towards that part for sure. Now, focusing on more on, again, two of the key themes, which I think you mentioned about the trends, and we know these are not new. Now we talk about intelligent automation. We talk about personalization, and some of these things have been, I think, there from quite some time. But I think we're seeing a next level of a maturity or next level of attention towards that part, especially talking about a personalization. If you look at Nike launching Nike by You, where you can probably create a completely customized pair of sneakers that completely matches your own personal taste. And that's amazing. Same way, there is a apparel company, fashion retailer, Stitch Fix, where you can go and they can probably look at some of the algorithms to find out the pattern based on your initial choices and the age group or a taste, and they can predict what other items you'll be interested in, and trying some of those things and seeing there's a data which proves some of those algorithms are becoming very effective or efficient overall. And again, intelligent automation is also one thing. So how do you see some of these focus areas are shaping up the industry? Are you really seeing some benefits in your own context and in general in the industry? Arthur, would like to start with you.
Sure. I am not one of these CIOs who believes he's got to build it or own it. I'm a believer in things as a service. And so in my ecosystem on Reeds.com, there's a reason why when you're browsing around the site, it's actually trying to move you and send you in different directions, right? It's the point you just made. So we have third-party AI and ML service providers that are actually doing exactly that. They're looking at your behavior, your patterns, and then they're driving the recommendations, right? That will be presented when you land on one of our PDP or PLP pages, product listing page, when you do a search, right? So we're using intelligent automation there, but we're also using it on the operational side to increase our ability to route orders as they come in from different queues, whether it's from the Amazon Marketplace, from the stores, or from Reeds.com. The idea is to automate that workflow process, right? So that we can be a little bit more efficient. So when you say you want it delivered in 2 days, that we can actually guarantee that, because we don't have people running around trying to find your order. We've also applied it to the way we drive quality in our development work, where when we have to do regression testing, the idea is to move away from having people running manually thousands of regression test cases. The idea is to do RPA. And so we're actually organizing our RPA processes to drive efficiencies in the way we do quality testing. So robots are testing, and we're also using it. We literally just completed this morning our pre-Black Friday prep, where we ran our robots to identify for me my marginal utility, performance utility breakpoint on Reeds.com. So I now know what is my total number of concurrent visitors that will make the site underperform. So now with that, we're going to go ahead and make some changes to our intelligent routing algorithms. We might roll in some more servers in the farm. So what I've given you are 4 different variants of how, certainly in my organization, we're using that intelligent automation. It's, again, on the customer side for recommendations, but most of it is what you don't see. It's how we drive efficiency through our operations in the back office.
Sure. Great insights. Arthur, Rob, what do you think?
Agree with all of that, really. Good to see you understand how much your volume your website can handle. Go run that Super Bowl ad now. You'll see what kind of additional volume you get. Yeah, customers need a lot of, again, I think a lot of personalization through everything that they're doing. Part of the other piece too is I was drinking this cup of coffee. I'm assuming that's a Starbucks coffee. It's a cup of coffee. At the end of the day, it's a cup of coffee, but how many different ways is there for Starbucks to make a cup of coffee, and being able to give customers that personalization as to what it is that they're looking for, and give them the experience that they're really needing.
Yeah. Again, Ahmed, anything from your side in this area, how you have seen your industry has been evolving?
Yeah, painfully is in one word. Personalization is a concept that I have found many of my customers, at least many of my clients, have struggled with. Mainly because they lack the, I'm going to use your word, Arthur, the unification of their infrastructure, right? They lack that one concise area of data. How are you going to personalize if you don't have that accurate, forget single or 360-degree view, but an accurate view of your customer, right? But put that aside for a second. Where they struggle the most is what is personalization. So if you allow me, just as we're all chatting here, personalization is, we start off with mass. I communicate to everybody and their cousin. Then we go to segmentation, right? Then we go to micro-segmentation. And somewhere along the journey, there's recommendation. And then on the spectrum, there's personalization. And then there's hyper-personalization, which is the one-to-one. When people think about personalization, or at least when organizations that I've spoken to think of personalization, they automatically want to go from mass to that one-to-one. But there's a lot in between. And the data has to be able to support all the variants in between. That's where I think that most struggle. When you combine that with our earlier topic, which is omni-channel, man, that's when you start to see some smoke come from the gears just crashing into one another. That is really where the challenges are. Now, some have done a better job at that than others. Most have focused on recommendations, but the reality is if you're trying to do omni-channel and your data is in a good place, then you should be able to pivot. Sorry, friends is in my mind. It was a funny word and I don't like using it. You should be able to pivot between the different areas of that spectrum.
Ahmed's right? One of the things that we've established is a CDP, or customer data platform, right? So I wasn't kidding when I said a one-ification. It's not just, the physical infrastructure, but the layer on top of that, we've one-ified the data. And again, it's CDP as a service, right? So we have a partner where all of our transactions from all our channels are being fed, and then they're running and crunching and feeding the insights back to our marketing team. We've also organizationally established our data science team. So we've got data scientists on board who are working with the CDP partner. And it's out of that we can make decisions. For example, where should we open the next store? Right? Where should we put the next distribution center? Where should we have a pop-up store with an 18-wheeler show up? Right. And what time of the day? Exactly. So we've definitely, we're big on data. And it drives the heart and soul of everything we do in terms of how many people walked into the store, which are the entrances they walked in from, how long they spent on a queue, to, are they also shopping online, and every combination. But it's because we've sort of quantified data. It's not done. It's never done, because this whole data BI thing is a journey, not a destination. So if anyone ever says to you, Harvinder, we've nailed it, they're lying, because that means they're not ready for what's about to happen, the next shift in the analytics. So, but we've been on that journey. We've established the infrastructure, as I said earlier. We've quantified our data architecture, and we have a service partner that crunches it, and we have our data scientist on board that then determines what we do with it. And we're a
I think
jewelry
I agree
company,
with
which
that.
is scary.
I want to add one very important key point that Arthur mentioned: the role of data science. So recommendations tend to be reactive. You did X, right? In the grocery world, you bought toothpaste, so I might recommend a toothbrush, right? If you want to be predictive, that's where data science starts to come in, because now that's where algorithms come in. And you really, this is in my humble opinion, in my experience, you cannot truly get to personalization unless you can get to that predictive modeling. In other words, your data has to be solid enough that you're able to learn and react to it based on algorithms, not business rules, algorithms, right? That allow you to predict the next thing. So if an example that I've used in the recent past is, if I see that you're getting pet food every third Thursday of the month, then I should be able to recommend pet food for you. It's a combination of recommendation, a little bit of algorithms, but I should be able to recommend it in a timely manner. The last piece that I mentioned about personalization, I think, is a key point, is a lot of people think, a lot of companies think that personalization applies to the online space only, and it doesn't.
Right.
How you extend personalization to the brick and mortar space is equally as important, right? And that's a whole different ball of wax that most retailers are just not ready for.
Yeah, we're looking at clienteling technology, to your point, Ahmad, because we recognize that we do have a segment of our customer base that are going to just come in here, right, into the store. And the idea is, and it's the simple things, right? So Rob walks in and we have a glass of red wine because we know today is his birthday.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that, right? And that's that. That is personalization. Rob feels important, which is why we're building out our store of the future archetypes, where you'll probably get a call saying, "Hey, it's time for you to clean your ring. Come on in." You don't walk around, right, Rob, thinking about when you're going to clean this ring, but we are. Just like Rob would say, it's time for your oil change, right? Like, it's the same concept. So I agree 100% with what Ahmad just said.
That connection between digital and online. I'm sorry, digital and in-store. What we're calling digital, right? Physical and digital. That digital space. We were talking about trends at the very beginning of this conversation, and that's where I see the connected associates coming in. That associate, when you walk into the store, knows that it's Rob's birthday. Don't be surprised if a sales associate calls you by name, or through connected selling, that associate will know your name and shopping history when you walk in. Mobile apps and CRM systems will combine with powerful new hardware to create even more unprecedented personalized selling solutions. Right? I think there's something in Forbes that I read about that touches on that real power of technology to upgrade a retail associate's experience, right? So that way they can offer a personalized experience to the consumer in store. And we're not there yet. And that's mainly, I'm big on data. So Arthur really tickled my fancy when he mentioned that. Having that data in a right place, I cannot emphasize that enough.
I think that'll be the next.
Spend your time there first.
That'll be the next explosion of data, though, too, is all of that unstructured data that you're getting through those interactions or through walking through stores. That when you can get it right, wow, you're going to really make some differences there.
Exactly.
True.
Yeah. And one other element, Ahmed, Arthur, and Rob, I would say, so experience of, real-time data collection, putting algorithms, and seeing how you can utilize that either from a marketing or a cross-selling, upselling. I visited a store, and I'm talking about this was year and a half before in New York City, just before Thanksgiving. And then when I go to this beauty store walk, it's a large store in New York City, and I spend maybe a couple of minutes because I'm not sure what to buy in the particular aisle. And as I move forward, within, I think, 3 or 4 minutes, I get a promotion for one of the items which were in the previous aisle, saying there's a 30% discount on the item. Again, they didn't say you were looking at it, but I'm sure because I was looking at it, probably that's how it has come, because there are so many things. And the CDP, which you talked about it, I think if you do it in a right way, gives you such a real-time information which you can utilize or monetize in a right manner. I think that's an example. I was wowed and sometimes intrigued also. Hey, is somebody tracking me where I'm going in the store? And I was a little concerned, but that's the experience I had. It was amazing to see what technology can bring in such cases.
Indeed.
I think we have one question from the audience.
Quick comment on Harvinder. The privacy, security, and creepiness factor of data has to come to the forefront of all conversations, and I'll leave it at that.
I agree with that part. Yeah, there's I think related question probably. It says omni-channel customer journey turning into unified commerce journeys. What are the difference between the two, and why is unified commerce important for retailers? If any one of you want to pick up an answer.
Sure. I mean, unified commerce, I guess, is just another way of saying that you're providing a similar service and experience across all your channels, right? And so these nomenclatures keep changing, but it's the idea is to meet the expectations of your customers, right? Oftentimes the expectations are set by people like my friend Rob, right? There is an expectation that I can go in and buy a car and use a punch machine. Therefore, I should be able to buy a ring like that, right? So the expectations are not always set by wicked marketing or by customer feedback. Sometimes it's set by an industry that has absolutely nothing to do with your industry, but it's that same customer who's buying that wicked Beamer who's going to buy my Rolex. And so it's still that one omni experience that is critical. And so whether you call it unified commerce or omni-channel or oneification, it still comes back to understanding the needs of your customers and meeting them at whatever point of sale that meets their affinity.
Sure.
I think I add a little bit more to that. I think the two are the omni-channel world. That is the customer's experience, and I think about it, it's like the great and powerful Oz is the man behind the curtain that is blending and moving all of this stuff around to make it appear to the end customer that it's all perfect and all working together. When in the back end, you may have multiple ERPs, you may have multiple inventory systems, and you really hate to be in a world where I sold the car, I sold the thing to the customer online, and they showed up in the store, and because the actual inventory was managed by multiple systems, something got lost in that transaction. And I think that's where the term this unified commerce came along too, was to help make sure that I do fully understand what is the back-end processing that's going to make this transaction happen, that's going to guarantee that it is always perfect for that customer.
And to Rob's point, that's why my view is that oneification, unified, omni-channel, take all those nomenclature, it's infrastructure. You have to start inside first, build that framework, which then allows you to meet these cross-channel expectations. If you do it the other way around, it's back to the Oz question. 4,000 hamsters back here trying to fill an order.
Sure. Got it. Thanks, Arthur. Thanks, Rob. Again, one more question on the loyalty. Again, especially keeping the newer generation where you see a lot of defragmentation, the way they interact, the way they probably come and shop. What are your views in terms of tapping them so that the next generation shows that loyalty, which retailers are expecting or have seen from quite some time? Any thoughts on that? Rob, you want to start?
I would say that's the one that still is. I've got two teenage daughters who are big into the TikTok and Instagram and Snapchat. I don't have a real great solution for that. And what they do, I think that those worlds, they get into, it's a lot of hype cycles. What's cool today is maybe 48 hours later no longer cool. So I'm not sure on that one, to be honest.
Yeah, I think from our side, excuse me, you build loyalty as a function of the experience, right? There is a reason why we go to the same barber. There's a reason we have our favorite restaurant, right? It's an experiential thing, and you develop trust, right? And so, because we're the country's largest Pandora franchise. Now, if you guys, Rob, your daughters probably have the little Pandora charms on their wrists. It's like a cult, right? That's loyal to Define. You put up a Pandora sale right now, and there are thousands of young people lined up in the rain, snow, the heat, whatever, just to get Baby Yoda charm, right? But it's driven. We found it's driven by an expectation and an experience, and you if you can establish that, and if you can be true to it, you will start driving persons to become more loyal to you. It's a brand is a promise you make and a promise that you keep. It's not your logo, right? So on top of that, then you have the what did my CDP tell me about these 15 people and what they buy, and what kind of promotions can I send to them to keep them coming back and becoming even more sticky on our brand. So that's sort of our view on it. But at the core, Arvinder, it's about establishing that trust and managing that experience each time that customer walks into a brick and mortar, our Amazon store, or certainly Reeds.com.
Sure, Arthur. I think in your industry it's very different, if I'm not wrong, because again, if I go to my native and where my dad used to buy it, probably I'll first look at that as an option and then explore the other one, because there's an affinity. It's a family, generation by generation. But I think if you talk about the grocery, or if you talk about the other elements, you might find this varies a lot, and it could be a few months versus years or generations. So I think we have a lot of variety in these way. And I think this is where I think we have to figure it out. And as Rob mentioned, I have spoken to many CIOs, especially in the retail industry. I think nobody has that silver bullet right now to see how do we tap into that part. Are they still figuring it out, trying some step and see if that makes sense for them in near future?
Yeah. I'm not supporting AG anymore. Right? So, but I can tell you that they don't have a loyalty program, and that's because it's similar to what Arthur was saying, right? I'm going to add to it. It's not just the experience; it's the quality which breeds trust, right? The combination of those three is incentives aside, right? So I know that Kroger may offer points, or Walmart, if you have Walmart Plus, offer something different, etc. So even outside of the grocery space, just the larger retail space, there are incentives, right? There are plenty of companies that offer you a loyalty currency of some sort, right? They can help you with that. At the end of the day, it comes down to those three things: experience, right? Quality, which breeds trust. If you can capture those three, yes, loyalty will follow. Right? It's kind of, I think it's Einstein that said it, but this is something that I live by, and I may have bastardized it. If you focus on value, success will follow. It's no different. It's just an extension of that.
True.
Sure. Agreed. Yeah. Sounds good. Again, I know Nitin is here, so it's like a closing part. So again, I think one of the key things which I could definitely extract is the omni-channel. It's going to stay. We have seen a lot of value, and I think we need to continue to innovate and see what we can do it. And knowing the customer, their journeys, trying to figure it out at different points where we can tap into and make it more personalized or automated experience, which can probably help them in appreciating that part. I think the key thing for retailers will be how quickly they can pick up an emerging technology and apply it at scale so that you see the value, because many of the other retailers are putting a lot more effort. So I think it's probably an alarm for a lot of retailers. Any other closing remark, Arthur, you, Rob, you, or Ahmed, you have it?
I just think it's an exciting time, certainly to be in my industry and to be the CIO, because I think Rob said it. The things are changing at an increasingly rapid rate, right? The expectations of the customers are also changing. The technology is becoming novel and novel. What was novel 2 minutes ago is not anymore. And so it's this constant flux and the dynamics of the marketplace and the constant changing in the behavioralism of our customers that makes it exciting. And all I have to say is embrace it and go along for the ride.
Yeah. Very good, Arthur. Thank you so much. Rob, over to you.
I was going to say the same thing. That it's not just about what your competition is doing. The people in your vertical, what they're doing, that's driving that customer's behavior. It's on the other side of the spectrum. It's back to we sell cars, but Starbucks is personalizing the heck out of coffee, and customers want that. Amazon is providing phenomenal transparency into what's actually happening with your order, and customers are expecting that type of simplicity and ease of use across everything.
Totally agree. Ahmed, last remarks from your side?
Yeah, I would say those who succeed will put shopper experience first and technology second. Humans are creatures of habit, and it's natural for us to take some time to warm up to new technologies. And I say this as a technologist. I've been a technologist all of my life. So remember that the first time you walked into a grocery store and saw a self-checkout kiosk. Today, 70% of people think self-checkout kiosks improve their shopping experience, but it took years for them to catch on. In June of last year, a poll of 1,993 U.S. consumers from Retail Brew, if I'm not mistaken, found that only 30% of people actually want more technology in retail stores, compared to 57% who want less, or for things to stay the same. Keep that information in mind when rolling out new technology. Experience matters a lot to shoppers, just as much as the quality of your product or service. Technology has opportunity to greatly improve the retail experience, but brands must also continue to deliver that human touch.
Yeah, sure, Arthur. And Arthur, what we have seen, what kind of, Ahmed, what we have seen as an innovation in the last 3 years, I think we will see, multifold of that in the next 3 years. That's what it looks like. And I think we're all looking forward to embrace and then take it forward. Really appreciate it and enjoy the conversation, Arthur, Rob, and Ahmed. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Really appreciate
it.
It was a lot.
We enjoyed it. Stay well,
I
everyone.
enjoyed it. Thank you.
Enjoy.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Arthur. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Ahmed, for great insight. There was a question, guys. I just saw less than 30 seconds ago. I'm sure, I know we are on top, but if we have we answered that? Arthur, it's question to Arthur. What is the craziest thing you're working on or thinking on in the innovation lab? From Zach.
So, Zach, I figured that if they brought back Tupac using hologram, I could use that to sell Rolex. So it's actually sitting beside me. You can't see, but I actually have a hologram of a very large diamond spinning to my left. So it's real.
And I saw that as well, Arthur.
Right, you did see it earlier, yeah. So Zach, that's the craziest thing I've done so far. Good question.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Arthur, Rob, Ahmed, for having such a great panel discussion. Thank you, Harvinder, for moderating it such a nice way. So just to wrap up, we would like to thank our community partners, speakers, and attendees who came together for enriching knowledge through this forum. We had a great set of panel speakers who came together to share thoughts. Just for your information, today's event was broadcasted in the YouTube and Facebook page of our company, so you all can go and see the recording anytime. Please log on to our website and like the social media channels as well. We'll be sharing lots of knowledge sharing topics, details, announcement of next events, and much more, which will help you register and attend the same. We'd like to thank InfoVision, which is our knowledge and innovation partner, and Digit7, which is our technology partner. Digit7 also have a great innovation lab of 15,000 square feet in Richardson, Texas. Any one of you who are dropping by can always go to the office, have a look to feel that. To understand more in depth, connect with them, and to suggest any aspect, all of you can go through their website, which is infovision.com and digit7.io, and closely liaison with them. Further, there are lots more in store for this month and subsequent months as well, with focus on a lot of emerging areas like banking, financial, insurance, telecom, retail, healthcare, supply chain, manufacturing, energy, utility, and so on. So request all of you to keep connected with us and enjoy the learning. Thanks, and do take good care of yourself. Have a lovely day and week ahead. Bye.
Take care. Stay well.
Thanks for the opportunity. Take care. Bye-bye.